Now that we're recording, who is Jason the only one online, Nathan?
Got Jason, we got Jake Hester. I think Jason's the only one we need to talk about.
Yeah. So we do not have a quorum, therefore we cannot approve minutes. So if we could add that to our next agenda to approve minutes, for both January and for our April meeting. Any, for the committee members that are here, any alternates, any additions to representatives from agencies? I see Bruce, you got yourself and Thorpe in last meeting, so we're good there. Anybody else? Hearing none, we can still hear district updates. We can start with operations report from Danelle.
Hi, sure. Well, most recently, this month, April 13th or 19th was the 911 National Telecommunicators Week, and we received a lot of acknowledgement from user agencies and our partners and the board, and we really did appreciate that. Hiring and staffing, we have a heavy lift going on with 4 actively in training right now. And we're right and in between our spring training where all staff attend, but we split it up so that all staff on the floor can attend. So one half occurred Monday, and Kirby's been doing great collaborating with people coming in and sharing the opportunity for training with our user partners. It's been very well received. And hiring, we're still working on opening entry level, and our lateral hiring remains open. We did have 1 lateral applicant who was actually a previous employee of the district. Frank has returned as of yesterday. And Lauren, she was with us for about 2.5 years. This was for last week, just last week. She got engaged and is moving closer to her fiance and starting their life. Beyond that, any questions for operations?
Thank you, Danelle. Real quick, go back. I forgot the opening and bring meeting to order. I wanted to an addition to the agenda since it's out on the table there. Down at the round table. We'll talk about our the net motion internet protocol security tunnels. There should be a paper up on the round table to talk about that, but that's going to be down in our roundtable discussion. Minutes now. Smythe, thanks for showing up. We get to do minutes now.
Hey, Richard on his way too. Can't be yelling out there saving lives and fighting fire. There you go. Priorities.
So let's go ahead and move back up to approval of January's minutes. Everybody get a chance to read minutes? If so, I can entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Motion made by Chief Smythe, second by Chief Halsey. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of improving January 28th, 2025 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, now we can skip back forward to equipment and technology briefing. Nathan.
Yeah, so as some of you might have heard or have seen in this room, we had some water damage from our roof. The perimeter leaked throughout most of the building, so we are working with a restoration company, Premier, right now to get that all dried out. And we've actually started doing work to get the walls put back into place. We're working with a local engineer down the street to get a design for our roof so we can get it replaced and hopefully stop any future water leaks. HVAC, we had a HVAC unit that was on older coolant and we are scheduled to have that replaced. We are working on evacuation kits for dispatch, so that will have phones and CAD right now and radios in the future. It'll also have things like first aid kits, and it'll be a box that you can throw into your trunk and set up in a matter of minutes. Magix, we've moved forward with the mobile UX update. We are working on getting the design finalized here. We just haven't had a whole lot of time with everything else going on. So we're probably gonna piggyback off one of the other agencies and adapt it for our county. That'll be coming in the next couple months. Radio sites, we're gathering quotes for security system upgrades, so putting new cameras out at our radio sites so we can get or see who's at our radio sites, really. And then training, Marks and I attended Oregon Public Procurement Law through the League of Oregon Cities to learn more about how to work with procurement law. Any questions?
A quick question on the mobile UX. Is that something that you're going to have to put new software onto all?
No.
No, okay.
And our plan is to hopefully get a couple beta testers, so the heavy users. Evan is a great resource, Jeff Lockhart, and then starting to expand the beta group from there.
Any other questions for Nathan? Thank you, Nathan. Moving on to the director report. Brian, go ahead, take it away.
Thank you. Meisner build out project is getting close, but we're still just struggling with a couple little technical things. We did receive a quote from Day Wireless to actually transfer the equipment from the existing wood poles and equipment that belongs to Kara and Hood Coast and the radio equipment and shelter to transfer that over to the new shelter in the new tower. So now just touching base with Kara and Hood Coast on how they are going to be able to fund the cost, labor costs, primarily some small equipment costs to be able to transfer that equipment. Discussions today with Kara, at least, I think one of the things that we still need to do is figure out the maintenance fees for them to co-locate. So I need to get a hold of our legal counsel to see where he is in negotiations on what they need to pay monthly or yearly to pay for the small electrical service that they draw. Jason sent me a email today with I think some updates on the lease for ODF that we need to continue to look into. So Jason, anything on that?
No, just kind of resetting, some emails I sent Mike, just with the contacts in Salem. So just our radio comms contact, and then the asset managers that kind of deal with the easement stuff. So just, you can send it to me and I send it to them, but I just kind of reset all the contacts and players from when Mike first reached out. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. Make sure you get what you need.
All right, thanks. We could change on the agenda to next gen radio project probably changed. With the failure of our last two levy attempts, kind of just assessing public opinion, it was felt as though going out for a new complete radio system is probably not going to be something to pursue, at least for the near future. So we've shifted to be able to kind of evaluate our current system, the HF system, and focus on stabilization of that system for upgrades that we need to make to that system, make it more stable. Ron Pelliconi, who retired from WACA, is assisting me, just advising me and helping me with understanding some of the technical aspects of the equipment that we need to look at, along with other sources. Tyler Day Wireless, other sources of information. We did create at least a start and presented to the board back in March. And it was a prioritized list of upgrades with cost estimates to help guide kind of some of the things that we'll want to take a look at urgently or before sooner than later replacing and kind of making that a priority. We have continued on with meetings with Scappoose. We started there and we'll actually continue throughout the county, talking to different agencies about what we propose to do, gathering their input on any coverage areas or concerns that they have, and kind of incorporating that into this draft list that we're preparing. So far with Scappoose, Scappoose Fire, Police, City Administrator, Tyler, Rob Anderson, and Jeff, well, I already mentioned that. But anyway, we got together, had two, I thought, very productive meetings, and we'll continue on with that. Again, as we take that to other agencies and kind of talk about those issues as well. Is there any questions about that? Anything that you'd like to ask? Yeah.
I guess is a kind of question. So clearly there's been opposition to the levy that you've had for a very long time. And I would hope that we can come to some type of resolution. The fact that police and fire personnel are out there with a system that's failing. I understand that we can't get the new one, and I absolutely agree. But we need to improve the current system we have. And so getting that levy, sitting down at the table, finding out why we have opposition to it or why they have opposition to your levy, I think is going to be vitally important, because what it's going to do is we're going to lose a police officer, sheriff's officer, we're going to lose some firefighters because we have a crappy radio system. It's not crappy because it's been put together. It's old, it's archaic, and it's falling apart. And we need something there's no one coming to help us. And I would love all the wonderful things that, Scappoose Fire stuff gets, right? They got their little, mobile radios and repeaters. Those are great when they're there, but they're not there yet. And law enforcement doesn't have that ability. So the only thing I can implore is you continue to move forward, Brian, till you get the new director in here. And even with the new director is we all need to sit down at the table. Same thing with us with the county, with the ASA and everything else. We provide a service to the communities. These people rely heavily on us to do this. And if my folks are getting hurt or killed because they can't call out on a radio, or we can't hear them calling for help, or a sheriff's officer out in Canaan Road someplace having a bad day, the infighting's got to stop. This has to move forward. We cannot operate without a 911 system. None of the fire departments can take it on. Definitely the sheriffs that haven't cut $500,000 out of their budget are not going to be taking this on. So coming together as a group and working through this, and for the common good of the citizens we serve and the people that we employ to protect them. And so that's all I'm saying is that I struggle with this. I've been here for 12 years now, and 12 years I've heard we're going to get a new radio system for 12 years. And because of all the things that have transpired in the last 10 years, that has not happened. Fine, don't get a new radio system, but we need to fix the one we have so our folks, whether sheriff or law enforcement or fire or EMS, can make a call and our citizens know that we're coming to help them and we can communicate. So maybe it's just a statement. I'm just tired. We have too many other amount of things going on, and this one is a critical component for operations for whether it's police or fire.
I agree. And thanks for your input. And I think that is what we're embarking on currently. And that's some of the things we've done in Scappoose. We'll go to St. Helens, we'll go to Claston. And part of that is all on the basis of collaborative efforts, figuring out that the end user and what we're all pointing toward is providing the best radio coverage we can for all end users within the county. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I hope we make some notable progress in the near future, and we continue on with that as the new director comes on board with some things in place that he can kind of jump into, him or her, can jump into and proceed with what we've established. So thanks. So we transition right into the executive director recruitment. So that's gone well. I'm pretty pleased with the applicants that we've got. We've got 4 applications, all very qualified, look great on their resumes. We have pass those along. They all passed the initial screening, and then we pass that along to our, a group called SCGI, who's going to be responsive to put on the assessment center. That's going to be on May 20th, a one-day assessment. Some of you might have been contacted to participate as a panelist. We have the panelists actually identified and confirmed. And we should have an idea the night of the 20th, how people have ranked in order of how they did in the assessment center. So, but yeah, I think we're moving along with that. Should have somebody in that position by July 1st. Awesome. Public education outreach, we actually brought that back in-house. We have individual Kirby Foch, who is actually very skilled and has done some of this for Lakota, I think, in the past, and as well as privately, but she has some good skills in how to manage some of our public outreach. Is doing a remarkable job, I think. In my report, if you pick up a copy, I'll let you read some of the comments that she actually provided for me. I just cut and pasted that in. But you can, I think, see that she's made some good improvements to what we have been lacking to do over the last couple of years, I think, for whatever reason. And I think it's important, and we're continuing on. One of the things that she's actually, I think, presented to some, maybe not all yet, but how she can kind of include other agencies in the templates that she has created, making it easier for other agencies to kind of tag onto that, increasing the reach of everybody's contacts out there. So that's been positively received by Skeptic Inspire. And the sheriff's department currently using some of that. So encouraged by that. I think it's a good thing. We'll continue to keep that going. Levy campaign, not much to report other than I think the board in the March meeting did make and approve that we would go out in November. Currently, we are just taking a look at some of the timelines that would be required to meet. Some of the things that we want to be able to produce when we start campaigning for the levy. And the last on my agenda or my report would be budget review. We met with the budget committee and board on Thursday. And then that was our first meeting. All went well. We'll have our second meeting tomorrow at noon. Any questions?
Thank you, Brian. Okay, moving on to the round table, and this is where the NetMotion IPsec tunnels come up. Nathan, you want to give us some background on this, or Merch?
Yeah, I can talk about it. So we talked about this briefly in January. Wanted to circle back around with a little bit more information. So background here, we're talking about NetMotion, which is a client VPN that we use to connect MDTs back to our CAD server here. Our NetMotion server is old. It's due for replacement, and it's about $20,000 for that replacement server. We also have ongoing licensing costs. Every NetMotion device, every MDT, has to have a license, which NetMotion charges for. It's about $120 per year per license. So we're looking at ways that the district can save some money, and it occurred to us that this isn't just going to save us money. This also could save all of our users a significant amount of money. Those NetMotion licenses, we purchased through the district, and most of them we are compensated for because we bill them out to the user agencies. There is a surplus that we have to carry for new and added MDTs, so it's about $2,000 a year for us with those NetMotion license excess numbers that we're not compensated for. But ultimately, we have the infrastructure in place, and most of our user agencies do as well, to make NetMotion unnecessary. We can directly connect our firewall to our user agency firewalls using an IPsec tunnel. It's just a VPN between those firewalls. And then user agencies can connect their MDTs to their firewalls using another VPN. And there's a variety of solutions to that. We don't want to demand agencies use a certain provider to do that. That's something that user agencies would have to figure out with their own contracted IT or their own IT staff. But ultimately, we could eliminate the costs of the NetMotion server, as well as all of those licenses by taking this type of approach. Costs, again, we can't tell you how much it's going to cost your contractors or your agency staff to do this in terms of labor, but the hardware requirements are pretty minimal. For agencies that currently don't operate behind a firewall, a small enterprise grade firewall for a small agency could be as low as 1,500 with 5-year support there. And then the VPN to connect an MDT to your agency firewall, it costs vary depending on the products that you use, but it could be as little as nothing ongoing. So we've got some information here. At this point, this is not a formal ask of the agency at this time. We've got it labeled draft. Just want to give us a chance to talk about this. We can put together more formal documentation to get out to you guys, but I wanted to take advantage of this meeting. We have, the earliest that this would present a saving opportunity would be next April for our next time to renew those NetMotion licenses. So we've got some runway here. But yeah, just wanted to bring it back up to the board and give a chance for some thoughts and input before we send this out to all of our user agencies, including those who weren't able to make this meeting.
Questions for Merks on this? I have a couple.
Yeah.
For agencies that don't have IT or IT staff, could we contract with the district to help us in that realm?
So we're happy to sit down and talk about the details. Probably it would be a better idea sustainability wise for you guys to build your own relationship with an IT contractor or bring on IT staff.
I'm going to tell you right now, Mr. Birkenfeld wouldn't be able to afford that.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked that question, because bringing on our own IT staff, we don't have the budget for it. And that would be why we would contract with the district to see if that was reasonable.
So, I think
I'm sorry, one of the things he said was in your location, it'd be worth checking to like, what is Vernonia doing? What would they subcontract you at, like their IT? So you'd just be.
And I think Vernonia would be in the same position as us. I don't know what platform.
Honestly, Will, I think that at some point that we'd probably be able to help you out with that and try to help Vernonia too, because you guys don't have that, right?
Right.
We want the system up, we want all the apparatus out there, so I'm sure another agency like ourselves would probably help make sure you guys have that stuff up. You're not talking, between Mist and Vernonia, eight licenses or eight units. I don't think it'd be too difficult.
Yeah, and that,
Location is different, same thought, like trying to say, adding a few units or licenses to pre-existing contract is not expensive. Bringing in a whole new IT is expensive. I agree with your statement, but whether it's Class 9 already has some set up, Sheriff's Office has some set up, or Scappoose, adding a few is not expensive. It's the initial cost.
right, and that's why I was asking the question to contract with the district that holds that.
And we could, work with you. I think our thing is we don't want to be your long-term IT support. So
Sure.
somebody that could understand at least at the service level or surface level of what we're doing, and so that they could take over from us if we did help you.
Which I 100% agree with that. I could get somebody, most likely myself, to be that service level person. It would just be the setup of the system
Yeah.
that we would need.
It is an interesting one. It presents clear cost savings to the district and to our large agencies. Small agencies probably looking at breaking even or saving a very small amount of money. Something that occurred to me is what might make sense would be for, we've got a number of these, small agencies, Miss Bergenfeld, Bladskenai, Westport, Rural Fire Protection Districts out in that Nehalem Valley area. And you guys together could probably have like one firewall hub for your MDTs to connect to. If not, just directly with a larger fire agency.
Thing to keep in mind is having a static IP. So I don't know if all the smaller agencies have static IPs, makes the connection a lot smoother and resilient than having a dynamic IP.
That was gonna be my next question, because where we're at, our location, especially with, both our district as well as our MDTs, right now we're testing out that Starlink system.
Yeah.
That does not utilize a static IP.
Yeah, and depending on what Starlink system you have, so the residential service doesn't actually have an outside facing IP, which we've found the hard way ourselves.
Mhm.
So you have to have a business plan to get an actual forward facing IP. It's not static, but we can work around dynamic IPs too. It's just there are some hiccups when you start going to dynamic IPs.
Now, with that dynamic IP, if we were to join with Scappoose or St. Helens, our MDTs would actually be, would they be connected to the St. Helens hub rather than something from our Starlink at a Miss Bergenfeld hub?
Yeah, so if their internet went out, then your MDTs would go out. And like I said, this isn't, we're pushing you towards this. This is meant to be, what do you think about this? I mean, we could, ask for reimbursement for the new server update. Maybe that's the easiest way to go. Our thought is this takes a workload off us and saves us a bit of money.
Right.
Because we have all these licenses that we're not using, but we have to have that buffer.
Sure, 100% agree. And I think we're all, every district that's here is looking for cost savings because none of us are making any more money.
Yeah.
Than we already are. Honestly, I like throwing the IP sec tunnels. I think I just need to know a little bit more on what we would need as a Miss Bergenfeld to make that work.
And we're happy to meet.
And I think that's gonna be more of an offline conversation between you two and myself.
And Will, you're more than welcome to start. It's this path each of us. Help with whatever we can.
Yeah.
And we totally understand that some of the smaller agencies are gonna need a little extra help. And we're more than happy to meet with you guys and help you find a direction or find resources that you need.
Appreciate it. Any other questions for Nathan or Merckx? Any other roundtable discussion that we would like to have? Any announcements? Hearing none, I can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion on the floor, second.
That.
Any discussion? Call it adjourned at 12:29.